All right, we're still in chapter 8, enlightened relationships with the power of the now.
By
Eric Eckhart Tolle, give up the relationship with yourself. When one is fully conscious, would one still have a need for a relationship? Would a man still feel drawn to a woman? Would a woman still feel incomplete without a man? Interesting.
read it again.
When one is fully conscious, would one still have a need for a relationship? Would a man still feel drawn to a woman? Would a woman still feel incomplete without a man? Okay, what's interesting about this question is for a man, it says, would a man still feel drawn? With a woman is would a woman still feel incomplete?
Hmm. So the assumption is that women feel incomplete without
That's
a
right.
man, and that
And a
men
man just
feel.
wants when men just want to have sex.
So you think that the men being drawn to a woman is sexual?
I think that this question is kind of reveals itself. The questions reveal itself in that.
Well, and the questions aren't always correct assertions, they're assumptions that he addresses after the question's asked. So I'm curious what he'll say to that italicized question.
Just interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The assumptions within the questions themselves. Enlightened or not, you're either, which is why when they asked Jesus, when the Pharisees and Sadducees came to Jesus and asked him, well, if they were married and they were on their fourth marriage, blah blah blah, when they die and go to the afterlife, who would they be married to? And I think it's there that Jesus says, well,
No marriage.
there is no marriage
Mm-hmm. The
because
purpose of it is we're all one there. So what's the point?
consciousness at that point is
Hmm.
is complete and it's full consciousness. So when you become fully conscious, then there isn't this in one,
It's
right?
redundant. It's
In
redundant
one
then.
with everything and with everyone,
It would be
there's no
it would
need
be
for
redundant.
marriage. There's no
Interesting.
need for marriage.
Hmm.
Enlightenment or not, you're either a man or a woman. So on the level of your form identity, you are not complete.
Hmm.
You are one half of the whole, which is what I used to always say in science to my students. I said, you're half your mom and you're half your dad, your DNA. So in essence, you're kind of half woman and half man, except for what? That extra X chromosome, that,
Makes you a woman.
yeah.
Hmm.
But all the other stuff is still the same. Your characteristics, your traits. Oh, you got your mom's eyes, you got your dad's shoulders or whatever. This incompleteness is felt as male-female attraction. The pull toward the opposite energy polarity, no matter how conscious you are. But in that state of interconnectedness, you feel this pull somewhat on the surface or periphery of your life. Anything that happens to you in that state feels somewhat like that. The whole world seems like waves or ripples on the surface of a vast and deep ocean. You are that ocean, and of course, you are also a ripple, but a ripple that has been realized, but a ripple that has realized its true identity as the ocean, and compared to the vastness and depth, the world of waves and ripples is not all that important. And I guess waves and ripples are on the surface, aren't they?
Well, and it also goes back to the tree myth. The the tree of distinguishing between good, evil, right, wrong, left, right, male, female. Like it's wave, ripple. Is it a wave? Is it a ripple? To it's all one, which is the tree of life, the tree of pure being. We left the tree of pure being and ate from the tree of duality, of defining ourselves by our differences, right? So it makes sense that that's a struggle for us. I am a wave, you're a ripple. No, you're all part of the ocean. That's
Here's what I think is interesting and unique to our relationship is that I have always been very connected to my feminine side.
mhm,
You have always been connected to your masculine side.
mhm,
And we joke about it,
yeah.
like your teenage boy humor
And my dad jokes.
and your dad jokes and all that stuff.
Mhm.
Um, but you know what? What's funny is I think in a weird way, I was drawn to your mind,
To my masculine energy.
to your masculine mind, your masculine energy.
Yeah,
And I think, and you've said it, you were drawn to my feminine side, my
absolutely.
ability to love mystery, my ability to listen,
Hmm.
to listen.
Well, at least because we were friends for 3 years before we ever had romantic um, relationship. And so our friendship was very drawn to the opposite thing in each other, you know. So,
My vulnerability,
yeah,
my freedom to express my feelings.
your nurture, your compassion,
Yeah.
all of those things that I also have, but you act out differently than I do. And you're comfortable with crying. Tears come easily to you. They don't come easily to me. It's like everything I wrote to you in the clause when I said, I wanted a man who shared the Kleenex box with me, kind of thing. Sad movies.
So in a way, we kind of switched the halves.
Well, I think it was also problematic when we first got married because
Yeah,
we thought that you would become the traditional man in the relationship when we got married, and you thought I would become the traditional woman
right.
because that's what we were groomed. I mean, sorry, that's what we were raised to believe growing up in our evangelical tradition.
Fundamentalist.
And imagine our surprise when neither one signed up for that.
Right.
And once we realized, oh, this is okay, this is who we really are, and we could be our authentic selves,
Right.
then it was actually in our favor. But
Yeah, because then we didn't have those
tapes,
expectations from the tapes that had been playing in
yeah,
our heads our whole
and we
life.
could let each other be each other's
Yeah.
authentic self. And then we actually like leaned into that, like, oh, she likes working and I like doing domestic things. And so we stopped fighting reality to a certain extent. But there wasn't really a template for us for our relationship. Like we had to figure out because we couldn't look to our parents, because our parents were pretty traditional. Although my mom pretty much did everything in our house. Like my mom ran everything. My dad worked, but my mom paid the bills, took the car to the auto shop. Like my mom has a lot of masculine strength in her, you know. So I did have some role modeling, but a lot of it was just who we were authentically,
Mhm.
and what we were attracted to initially as friends.
This does not mean that you don't relate deeply to other people or to your partner. In fact, you can relate deeply only if you are conscious of being. Coming from being, you're able to focus beyond the veil of form.
Mm.
In being, male and female are one. Your form may continue to have certain needs, but being has none. It's interesting. It is already complete and whole. If those needs are met, that is beautiful. But whether or not they are met makes no difference to your deep inner state. So it is perfectly possible for an enlightened person, if the need for the male or female polarity is not met, to feel a sense of lack of incompleteness on the outer level of his or her being, yet at the same time be totally complete, fulfilled, and at peace within.
So going back to creation myth, why do you think the verse says it is not good for man or humans to be alone? And this was before the duality.
Um,
And I'm not asking like necessarily even as a
I-
biblical scholar. I'm just asking why just intuitively do you think there was that scripture that said that? Like what that could mean even on a mystic level.
because I don't think you can truly understand who you are outside of relationship.
Which we always say, but I've never tied it back. Because we call one another to our true self, because we mirror I mirror who you are. You mirror who I am.
Yeah, and I think for Adam or Eve, for them to fully know who they are, you have to be in a relationship.
Mm.
And then you got throw God in the mix, right? Three, now you got three. So you got to scratch dualism, throw dualism out, because you got three now.
I was thinking, did dualism exist before Eve? Because there was God and man. But if you read scripture and you think about it in terms of context, it was let us make man in our image. So there was a we and our and us before man. So that whole Trinitarian idea existed before man.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
and if Christ in the truest sense of the word, not Jesus' last name, but Christ in all things are made of Christ, nothing has been made that's not made of Christ. Christ has always been. Then Christ is in that Trinitarian equation that predated let us make man in our image, God, Spirit, Christ energy, life energy, Trinitarian, even before the Jesus story.
Even before incarnation.
But then wasn't Adam incarnation? Because Adam is made of God.
Yes. Yes. But Adam is a created being. So he is a part of creation. In what? In human form. God, prior to the incarnation, was not
Created.
created in human form. So, which is why I know this gets really weird,
No, it's good. I like it. You know
so
me.
when he says, man, it's not good for man to be alone, well, God's there,
Right.
so he's not.
Right.
So what does that mean? It's not good for man to be alone. He needs somebody to be in relationship, that understands him and who he is as a human being. And you can't do that unless you have another human being. You know what I'm saying?
So if God said, let us make man in our image, and God is Trinitarian, for man to fully be in God's image, man also must be Trinitarian.
Yeah.
In a sense, the family model is Trinitarian: Father, Son, Spirit, masculine, feminine, incarnation, child, created being. Like we became, we sort of manifested that Trinitarian DNA in the family systems.
Mm-hmm.
And before duality, it was beautiful. It was like the Trinitarian, we're one. But then with duality, which I would even argue is necessary developmentally, we had to separate and come to know our oneness outside of knowing our oneness. Like we call it the fall, we call it the sin, but I almost wonder if it's the prodigal path that has to be taken to really know yourself, to know the other, to know, to come back home to our our beingness, our tree of lifeness, our oneness, the garden. Like, can we even know it outside of traveling away from it and seeing it
Right.
separate
That's why
developmentally?
I'm thinking ahead to when Jesus felt alone, right? He says it's
Mhm.
not good for man to be alone.
Hmm.
Now now God incarnate, he says, why have you forsaken me, right? Which I don't think God did forsake him. Obviously,
Well, he
he's
doesn't
not.
forsake us either, but we
Right.
have a sense of our
But
separateness,
he felt alone.
which is the most human feeling.
So now, as an incarnated human being, he now knows
Hmm.
that loneliness that he said from the very beginning, man should, I don't want man to be alone. It's
He's
not good for man to be
he's
alone.
experienced it in a way that
Now,
could never be experienced in the total bliss of the Godhead. It has to be done when you're trapped in time and space and death
that's
and
right.
earth.
That's right. And prior to that, he's not trapped in time. He's not trapped in space. God. But now, in the incarnate Jesus, he is.
I keep thinking about the word amnesia. What we realized today was amnesia is not just not remembering, but it has forgiveness in it with the word amnesty. Like like amnesia is forgetting. It's not remembering violations, and it's not remembering hurts. It's not remembering past wounds. It's an amnesia. It's an amnesty where you are able to forgive because you don't remember. And I just wonder, how much did God have a spiritual amnesia coming down, incarnating through the body of a woman, developing as a child and an adolescent, as a man, and all the missing years in between? There had to be a sort of remembering coming out of this state, this almost amnesia state. But it's sort of the amnesia that allowed him to forgive, that amnesty that came with it. Father, forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. Like, it was sort of a necessary amnesia through incarnation, through it being embodied in the very physical time and space and fear and loneliness and all the feelings that man feels. It was sort of this amnesty that was granted through this throwing off his Godhead, his omniscience, all of that, and actually being fully embodied in human psyche. And, you know, it fires my imagination to think about
That's a whole
holy amnesia.
rabbit hole.
I know, but I'm all about rabbit holes, dude.
This does not mean that you don't relate deeply to other people or to your partner. In fact, you can relate deeply only if you are conscious of being. Hmm.
Yeah, because you can't relate deeply if you're in your story head. You can only relate deeply if you're in your beingness. Like I'm fully here with you now and I'm relating to you, your feelings, your thoughts, because I'm fully present with you.
Yes. It's funny because I didn't tell you this, but one of
Do you want me
the
to turn off the camera?
no, that's right. But one of the assistants to that work in the office,
You don't have to say their name, but you can make up a name.
at AG High School. No, it's nothing bad. She came to me and she said, Dave, I don't know, now I do feel a little embarrassed, but anyway, she said, we've been watching you and we see, not her directly, but kind of word of mouth stuff, but we know that you have a very good rapport
Yeah.
with the kids. And we've noticed that. And she said, this is what she said. She goes, for our orientation next year, at the beginning of the year, she goes, I want to interview you and I want to ask you why. She says, I'm going to ask you two questions. She goes, I'll send them to you, but I want you to just start thinking now of why you think it is that you have such a good rapport.
Rapport.
Rapport. I said rapport
You say rapport. It's
with
rapport.
the students.
Why is
And
that embarrassing? That's beautiful.
oh yeah,
That's 40 years of teaching
I
experience.
felt very honored.
Yeah.
But after she asked that question, I started reflecting on it. I go, what would I say? Do you know what one of them would be? B.
Would they understand B?
And I understand B because of, the theological concept of
Right.
ontological.
They wouldn't understand
But
ontology.
of course, you'd have to unpack that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
But in order for you to be able to relate, not only to my students, but just to people in general, you have to be.
So you could tell that story of the butterfly, or you could tell, I mean, you could tell so many stories about students that have been,
And
that have chosen
who,
to be who they were. And who
right.
teaches you better than those
That's what
special needs
and that's what I
kids?
was going to tell them. I'm going to say, really, there are teachers because
Yes.
they're the ones who teach us how to be, how to just be here now.
So you'd be speaking to
Presence,
other paras and
presence.
educators?
They're going to hear this on the screen.
The teachers or students?
No, the teachers is
Oh,
teacher
that'd be
orient
so great.
parents orientation.
Oh, that would be so great. Oh my gosh, yeah. Oh, I'm so glad you didn't tell me that.
No, I told Michael and Lonnie or somebody, I told somebody recently, and I meant to tell you and I forgot, but
That's exciting.
they
'Cause you
they
got,
want to know why. And that's going to be one of them.
and you're going to tell
You
stories.
have to be you have to be grounded in your beingness, in your presence
And then what?
in being present.
What can you do once you do that?
I feel like I
No, I'm serious. Like we just talked about it. Then you know
your authentic self,
your authentic stuff, but you know your
power. You
power
know your power, right?
because you can't know your power outside of being.
That's right.
It's something existential. It's not, I'm going to act this way or I'm going to behave like this. You suddenly, like Shelby right now, is
Well,
discovering her power, like just in being.
you will default. I'll tell you what will happen is you will default to your ego.
If
If
you
you
don't,
don't know who you are, the default button will be ego,
yeah,
will be ego. And
wow.
trying to build up the ego,
Trying to build
making
that
it all about
impression management.
you.
It's all about managing your story then. And it's not about knowing you have everything you need within you. But is that something people can be taught, or do they just have to discover it developmentally?
No, it's not something that can be taught. And
But you can still tell the story of what it looks like.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll
Well,
see
I can only
themselves in
share
that
it from
story.
my experience.
That's what I'm saying. That's your story, but
And it's what it is, it's the power to know your power. And when you know that, when it comes from that sense of authentic being, um, then what it does is it doesn't and you're not thinking about the ego, but then all of a sudden there's this natural flow of
it's
moving that power into them, and it's called affirmation.
hmm.
The power of affirmation into them,
And
and
manifestation.
wanting to
Yeah,
see them, wanting to see them flourish in
right.
their beingness,
Yes.
in their beingness.
It's just it's sort of a byproduct of knowing who you are is that you can't help but have fruit that overflows and demonstrates what that looks like. It's just part, it's not even conscious. It's just the
Right.
natural byproduct of knowing yourself and knowing your power and living out of that authentic self, that authentic being. That, and when we do damage is when we try and program it, when we try to make a how-to out of it, or we try to manufacture some artificial, here's how to be. Like you can't. And we're so programmistic in our Western mind. Like everything can be programmed. And it can't only be shown. It can only be, you can only see the byproduct and know it when you see it.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like you said, they're the ones who teach us. Because those kids, they don't care about the past. They're not thinking about the future.
Hmm.
It's right here, it's right now. And if anyone knows, if anyone has a sense of presence, being fully present to the here and to the now, to the moment, it's those kids. It's those kids.
Hmm.
So it's almost as if unconsciously, maybe, they recognize what's within them. They recognize in their parent, they recognize in the
Interesting.
teacher.
It's almost like those neurodivergent children are your spiritual directors just by being.
Yeah, that's what I've said.
That would be a good thing to talk about too. Pay attention to the lessons your spiritual director has to teach you every day and how they see the world. And be ready to be the service recipient,
Yeah.
not this just the service giver, like you always say.
And the other thing I'm going to say is love. I'm going to tell them it's just as that simple and that difficult. You have to love kids.
That's good.
And I
Well, it's a
tell
good
you,
thing we're recording all this so
yeah,
you
when
can.
those kids, when they, when I walk in the room, they need to know, and I truly believe that they feel that I love them. It's like
Hmm.
this vibe, this power
It's a byproduct.
coming in, and that's it. That's the way it is. Well, not me, but just with a lot of the parents, they come in and they just bring this energy and these great vibes of love. Like,
Well, and that's why it's so important to know your own belovedness, your own
I
worthiness
think
of
that's
love.
coming up here.
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah. So I was going to say about that. Now I did. So it is perfectly coming from being. You are able to focus beyond the veil of form. Interesting, the veil of form, that outer veil. In being, male and female are one.
Well, it's funny that the veil is the illusory part. The veil of form is like this form is actually the illusory.
Right,
It's a veil to the reality
right. It's
of
kind
the
of hiding.
soul.
It's hiding. The form
Yeah.
is hiding what's beneath. And what's beneath is both male and female. And this is where our culture and our society has failed because it says these things are distinctly what make a man. These things are what distinctly makes a female.
Polarities and
And
dualisms.
we fell right back into dualism.
Mhm.
This is what a man is. This is what a woman is.
And with it comes fear and scarcity and
Competition,
ego and
competition,
competition and
all
othering.
those things that dualism brings to the table. And because we have forgotten that we are both,
And it's all illusion.
that we are both.
It's all based on the veil of the illusion of form. It's based on the veil of the illusion of form. That's not, it's not the thing behind the thing, that's for sure.
And one of the forms that we have made this into, very, very sadly, very, very sadly, is that if you have any inclination of of you're embracing the effeminate side of you, then
You have to jump to the other side.
well then you're gay.
Yeah, or
You
you're
have to be gay.
or you're actually a man when you're a woman, or you're actually a woman when you're a man, which is and that's a different conversation, but
Well, he's gonna get to it.
but the
He's
fact
gonna
that
get to it.
we are not comfortable that we already are both male and female,
That's what I'm saying.
it makes us feel like we have to choose a side.
That's right.
And we already are behind the form, we already are both inherently, but we've shut that down
It
and we
says
make people choose a
it says you
side.
got to be either effeminate or masculine.
Yes.
Okay. And the moment either one, and the moment you become effeminate, then the only option there is now that you're gay
Or trans.
or and that is the saddest thing that we our culture has perpetrated
Oh,
on
absolutely.
us.
I absolutely believe that. I don't know that I totally, and I don't know that I totally agree about the gay part. I mean, I think there are men who are effeminate that have been told that they are gay, that they don't have those inclinations that are legitimate. I don't want to go to war with that, but I think there are plenty of effeminate men that have been shamed out of that and been told they're gay or that they're a different gender. There have been plenty of women that are naturally more masculine that have been shamed out of that and told they're gay or been told they're trans, and they're just
It's
exactly who they're
it's
supposed to
back to the
either or.
the either or.
And that's what I
Well,
have an issue with, is when people don't let people be
you've
who
got a
they
lot of
are.
effeminate qualities, so you're gay. You must be gay.
I have to put you in this
A
hole
lot of
or that
masculine
hole.
qualities, so you must be a lesbian, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the sad part, is because we have not been taught that it's both. It's both.
And
Both and that's why I have been always been drawn. Maybe it's the effeminate in me that has been drawn to the man.
right.
You know what I'm
Well, it
saying?
resonates. There's a resonance because you understand it, because you have
Yes.
that capacity, which is truly what it is, to be both and to relate to both and.
But I've been drawn to what I should say is I've been drawn to the effeminate in men, whether it was with Bill, uh, 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 I should mention names, but
Mhm.
some other guys in college,
Mhm.
we were drawn to each other, right?
Right.
I found out later that then they then consider themselves as gay,
Mhm.
but what initially drew me to them was their sensitivity,
Mhm.
their
It resonated with
authenticity,
your feminine side.
their yes, yes.
Yeah.
And and I didn't have to become gay to appreciate those values, right? To appreciate those things, the effeminate things within them. But I still felt a closeness with them.
I mean, this is a totally separate discussion than whether people are gay or should not be gay, but I think every person has to acknowledge, or is healthier if they can acknowledge that both and within themselves, whether they're gay or not. It's healthy to recognize we all have those, but our society, and not even just religious, just culturally, has shut that down. And you have to be one or the other.
Right. And he says here, in being, male and female are one.
In their essence, in their being, beyond form, beyond the veil of form, they're one. Right?
Yeah, and I'm thinking of the marriage vows, right? The two shall become one.
Interesting,
The
because
two shall
if we
become
really believe it in the sense of this conversation, it's really the two shall remember their one.
exactly, which I was just going to say,
Mm-hmm.
as it was from the very beginning.
So it is.
as it was in the beginning.
Well, and then the whole language of what
two-
God has joined together, let no man put asunder. That whole
They
idea,
were one in the beginning.
it's returning back
And it's returning back to the garden.
to a metaphor.
To a
It's a
oneness.
metaphor of it,
Right.
or like not even a metaphor, because you live it out every day. I mean, if you're married, it's interesting.
Your form may continue to have certain needs, but being has none. It is already complete and whole. If those needs are met, that is beautiful, but whether or not they are met makes no difference to your deep inner state. So it is perfectly possible for an enlightened person, if the need for the male or female polarity is not met, to feel a sense of lack of incompleteness on the outer level of his or her being, yet at the same time be totally complete.
Hmm.
So they may feel the need, right? Or a sense of incompleteness, um, but at the same time, be totally complete.
It's a balancing act,
Just
isn't it?
because you feel the need, doesn't necessarily mean you need to, because you are complete.
I go back to Out of Africa with Meryl Streep's character. I don't remember her name on the movie,
Mhm.
and Robert Redford's character, where he he challenged her when she was trying to say, well, this is what a relationship is. We need each other. And he's like, I don't need you. You don't need me. If I die, you won't die. If you die, I won't die.
Yeah.
He was very much in the mind.
Mhm.
And she was very much in the knowing that we're all connected, knowing that we're all
Who
one.
was?
Meryl Streep's character, like knowing, that, but missing it in that she needed him to physically
She needed the form.
be there, right?
She needed the form.
She wasn't entirely wrong, and he wasn't entirely wrong, but they
And
were
he said-
missing the point.
And he said he already felt one with everything.
Right.
That was
But
his-
then remember later, as he starts to bond with her and really feel the oneness that is in his relationship with her. Remember what he said? He
Yeah.
said, You've ruined
me.
it. You've ruined it now.
Yeah.
Because he finally was in a relationship that was all of the considering the other as more important than yourself.
Right.
All of that stuff formed him in a way that he was able to understand the metaphor of oneness, to the point that he didn't want to leave that state, that was manifested in this form of their
Yeah.
relationship.
Yes.
And
They ruined each other.
yeah. And then her realization that at the very end, at the grave, when she throws the dirt, um, that he never belonged to any of us.
Yes.
And then she said,
Yes.
and he was never mine. It's the
Yes.
realization, even she had the transcendent realization that he had a being that was complete and whole without
Yes,
her.
Without her.
And so it was both, and it was such a beautiful story because of that,
And guess what it created? Tension.
Oh, absolutely.
As non-duality always does.
Hmm.
Always does.
Because our ego fights it. Because our ego wants to place it. It wants to be good at it. It wants to own it. It wants to possess it. Our ego is wanting the veil of form.
Yes. And true love is the ability to live in the tension. That's what true love is. True love is able to live within the tension, to live within the conflict, right?
It's a passionately conflicted
It's
middle.
not saying one way or the other.
It's
That's not what true love is.
passionately conflicted middle.
That's not what true love is.
Wow.
In the good, in the bad, in the happy, in the sad, in the health, and the sickness,
rich or poor.
It's
the fiddler on the roof.
That is the tension. It's
Yeah.
the tension. All of that, all of those pairs are pairs of tension and conflict.
Mm.
And love stays right there. It stays right in the middle of it.
Holds it all in tension.
Holds it all in tension.
It's work, man. And it's developmental.
I'm kind of good with that, aren't you?
Yeah.
That's enough for my plate,
Cheers, everybody.
for my palate. We're not getting payback, any kind of payback for
Yes, we have no sponsorship.
advertising.
Enjoy.
But
If you like it, like
just a
it.
good book.
But enjoy.
Namaste.
Namaste.